Let me start by putting this out there, by no means am I trying to convince you of what I saw, but I wanted to share this experience I had recently, and this seemed like the best place to do it. It was 3 nights ago, and I had just gotten off of work at around 3 a.m. I work 10-hour shifts, so naturally I was exhausted, but having gotten so used to my schedule, I was still quite alert and present. I live next to my grandparents, but since my cupboard usually stays bare and we're out in the middle of nowhere, they're kind enough to leave a door unlocked for me when I get home so I can grab something to eat before heading off to bed. During the night in question, I came home like usual and quietly slipped in through the back door to make my way to the pantry. My grandfather has a bad habit of sleeping on the couch in the den, so I had to be sure to stay extra quiet as to not disturb him. As I'm passing through the den, I happened to glance in his direction, and when I did, it took a moment to register what I was seeing, and then all I could not to scream. There, in the dim glow of the television screen, sat a small, winged creature propped up on one of the arms of the couch, sitting in my grandfather's direction. Its body was hunched, tucked almost into the fetal position, but it was sitting straight up, hands resting on its knees. I froze solid, and simply stared at the thing. It looked somewhat like your typical depiction of a demon or devil, but its body was a solid black. Not hairy, or cast in shadow, but a solid pitch black. Offsetting its skin color were 2 longish oval-like eyes and a set of perfectly straight teeth, both a piercing white. I didn't notice any horns. As to be expected, its teeth came down to small points, and its little ears on either side of its head came up like spokes. Almost unconsciously, my bag I carried to work slid off of my shoulder and hit the ground at my feet. The thing and I sat in silence, and it seemed to regard me for a moment, before putting a bony finger up to its lipless mouth and making a shish gesture. I could feel my mouth quivering as I stared at this little thing, but I wouldn't have much longer to stare. The glow of the TV flickered as a jump cut happened in whatever was on, and in that brief moment of darkness, the thing was gone. Just like that, it had disappeared. There was no indication it had ever been there or even an indentation where it sat, and I spent a solid half-hour looking for anything to prove what I just saw was real. I've never suffered any serious hallucinations or anything like that, and it felt just as real as anything else that has ever happened to me. I slept in my grandparents' spare bedroom that night, admittedly too afraid to be alone in my own house. They didn't mind the next day, but I sort of half-heartedly explained I was too tired to go out to my own house instead of telling the truth. I'm really scared for my grandfather's life, or my own for that matter. I don't know if this was some creature intent on delivering an ominous warning or it just felt like goofing around. I really don't know. This content was provided by angelotricarico.com.